Our next speaker is Frederikus Darwin Satyawan, who goes by Eric. Eric has been overseeing and working directly with synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, data of more than 15 million square kilometers in 30 countries for the last 17 years. He is passionate about space and recently attended the International Space University Space Course program. Eric is certified in remote sensing and imagery analysis from the United States Geospatial Intelligence Foundation. He has a master's degree in technology management from the Memorial University of Newfoundland, Canada, and a master's degree in computer science from Budi Luhur University, Indonesia. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you very much. How about yourself?
Pretty good. The screen is yours, Eric, whenever you're ready to present.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity for me to share my knowledge about the synthetic aperture radar technology. So this is yeah, I've been work a lot with synthetic aperture radar data from many different places around the world. However, that doesn't mean I'm the expert of this field. There are so many other people out there that have more expertise than me, but I just would like to share my knowledge so that people in the space industry will have will get introduced to this technology. And while this technology has been extensively used mainly on Earth, however, this has lots of potential application for the future in space, especially the space infrastructure development and space mining. So basically, synthetic aperture radar itself is a technology of a remote sensing imaging technology that used to imaging the surface of something that usually Earth, but can be used also to image moon surface or asteroid surface or any other planet or regolith celestial bodies. So radar itself is a radio detection and ranging. So this is a sister or brother's technology of what we usually know now from the optical satellite imagery. We have used like mapping application every day in our phone, but we know those applications use the the color optical imagery that looks nice and clear, and we see what we see like from our eyes. But synthetic aperture itself is a different kind of technology that's instead of using the optical wavelength, visible wavelength, it's using the radio wavelength. So this technology can be mounted on multiple platforms. The most of the platform now being used is spaceborne platform that this have relevant application for space, and also some can be mounted on the airborne platform and also on the terrestrial on land-based platform. So this SAR technology, it's work in the microwave wavelength. What we usually see in with our eyes or with our phone photos is using capturing or recording visible light. So that's what we are using with most of the satellite that we the remote sensing satellite that we are seeing today with the color image is visible light. For SAR, it's using this microwave with a wavelength between few centimeters to a few meters. The advantage of this technology is this microwave can pass through cloud and pass through the atmospheric disturbance. That means when we want to image certain celestial bodies that covered by the atmospheric disturbance, the SAR technology is the suitable platform to do that. So, and also the second one, because it's using it's an active kind of remote sensing which transmitting and recording its own signal. So the SAR technology does not require any illumination to work on. So this is very useful if we want to image the dark side of the moon where there is no sun illumination. This SAR technology will be very suitable for that. So these are the example of the image that recorded by this SAR technology. So this is like black and white, grayscale image with the tone, the brightness of the tone indicating the the strength of the signal that back to the sensor. So there are a few examples here with some kind of computer enhancement, and down here in this example. So yeah, for the SAR technology itself is an active sensor. That means the platform sends its own radio signal to the area that want to be imaged. In this example is Earth, and then it records its own signal that that reflected, return back from the surface back to that sensor. While the other technology that using optical, it's using passive sensors, which means that it records the energy that reflected by the surface that usually come from the sun. Therefore, it requires a sun illumination to be able to work on. Because we are using electromagnetic radiation to that being captured or recorded by the sensor, there are several bands that work. So, for example, there's bands starting from the wavelength of 3 centimeter to more than 65 centimeters, just for the example. And the longer the wavelength, it's actually able to penetrate more to the the canopy foliage on the trees, or in the space application, it can penetrate more to the ground or to the underground level of the surface. But however, doesn't mean that the longer wavelength is always better than the shorter wavelength. It's all depending on the application and the purpose of what we want to accomplish on the imaging from the imaging, whether we want to image just the surface, or we also want to image some of the deeper layer from the surface or from the underground itself. So another properties that important from the SAR technology is the polarization. This is the orientation and shape of the electromagnetic wave that transmitted and recorded back to the sensor. So this particularly important because when the sensor transmits certain orientation and shape, for example, the sensor transmitting vertical polarization, the surface that being imaged can return the signal in the both horizontal and vertical. And with this is very important to very important properties that we can use when we analyze the image, the area being imaged. So that can determine the number of factors of properties from the surface, for example, type of minerals, like the roughness, surface roughness, or any kind of content or properties from the surface itself. So, and another important properties of the SAR technology is the scattering. So this scattering will determine and then will help us to identify what we can see from the imagery, the SAR imagery. So some of the scattering is come from the rough surface, and it will look different on the imagery, and then some from the volume where we have like canopy volume, but this will not be really have direct application on the moon, for example. However, this may be very useful when we terraforming Mars, and then we can plant trees on Mars. So this will be also useful. And also another one is the double bounce. So this is very useful when we want to monitor infrastructure development in space. For example, we build like mining building on the dark side of the moon, or we want to track the vehicle activity on the moon surface. Maybe we have like all the heavy equipment on the moon surface at work. for the mining that maybe was fully automated, and we want to keep monitoring that. This will be very useful properties of the SAR technology to be able to help for that monitoring. And the resolution of the imagery from SAR technology is depending on a few things. So there are two types of resolution from SAR imagery. One is the cross-track resolution, which is the resolution perpendicular to the movement of the sensor. So for example, it's a spacecraft movement with a sensor. So the resolution that perpendicular is related to the the pulse length of the transmitted radio signal. However, the higher pulse length means it needs higher energy to transmit. It's depending on the power envelope of the spacecraft itself. And there is a mathematical formulation or technique that can help overcome that limitation of the using the longer pulse length, but to get the higher resolution. And the other resolution also is the long track resolution. So it's just the resolution that same like the direction of the movement of the sensor, and this is dependent on the length of the antenna. So in essence, the longer the antenna, the higher resolution that the SAR technology can capture for the long track resolution. However, as we all know that the very long antenna is of course not applicable for any platform. For spaceborne or even airborne, we would not be able to have like 1 kilometer length antenna. So therefore, the antenna length is synthesized, which means that it's like a virtual antenna. So the platform keep recording the signal from the same target along the movement of the sensor, as long as the target is still within the beam of the antenna itself. That's why the technology named synthetic aperture radar, because it's a radar using synthetic antenna, it's not physical antenna. So if we see radar on airport, it's like rotating with huge antenna. There's a physical, real aperture radar antenna, but this technology is using the synthetic antenna. So the antenna can be very, very long without actually requiring the physical antenna. So with the mathematical formulation, we actually can generate very high resolution imagery that can mimic very long antenna length. So these are the output examples of the basic output example of the SAR technology. The first one and top right here is the SAR imagery itself. So we can see that we can see buildings here with higher return because of double bounce that I mentioned before. So we can see some of the metal structure or features on the ground that return very, very high return signal because of the double bounce. And we can see some of the like roads and the different kind of gray shade on the depending on the surface roughness on the surface here. So this very it's very useful because we can determine and then we can differentiate between one feature to another using the SAR, the SAR imagery. And another output example is with a technique called interferometric synthetic aperture radar. We actually can get the height, the 3D feature from the surface itself that we can continue to monitor. For example, if we have the mining site on the moon, we want to keep capturing the 3D feature of the terrain to see how deep we already excavate and all the changes that happen on the surface because of our activity. Or even for infrastructure development, because when we build road, sometimes we have to cut through the hills and fill through the valleys, and that will be also very useful for that kind of activity. So another useful application on Earth is for maritime monitoring. So because of the properties of the SAR signal itself, it bounce back signal when it meet the smooth surface. So water considered as a smooth surface and bounce back signal away from the sensor. And any surface, any feature or any things that float on the water will have a more stronger return and double bounce. So we can see easily all the ships or vessels that around this around this area. So the darker area is the water, and then the brighter area is the land. So we can see there is like port in here in this area. And this is an interesting thing that happened recently with the Ever Given ship stuck in the Suez Canal. And this, I'm taking a screenshot from the European Space Agency Twitter site, Twitter account. So this image on the right shows when the Ever Given ship stuck in here, and there are lots of ships accumulating, waiting to enter the canal. And when this Ever Given ship has freed out from the stuck, so we can see there are less of ships waiting because many of them has been able to pass through the canal. So this is very important. Very useful technology to monitor the area. And again, because this technology doesn't require illumination, so this can be imaged day and night, and also it doesn't affected by any atmospheric disturbance or cloud. And with those kind of radar SAR signal properties, we actually can perform an analysis on top of that. For example, we can combine all the polarization and combine them into like false red, green, blue layer to make a false color imagery. And this is very useful for the analysis of the surface material. For example, if we want to do mining in the lunar side, in the moon, so we can analyze what kind of rock and mineral that's available on the surface in order to be able to determine what kind of mineral or where we want to do we want to perform the mining activity. And another important application is called differential interferometric synthetic aperture radar. This is where the SAR technology can detect the millimeter movement of the surface or the terrain. So this is also very important and very useful feature of the SAR technology for lunar application. When we want to build infrastructure on the moon surface, we may want to see how it affects the other area around where we build, or we want to monitor how our lunar base stability. Are there any ground movement on that base, or whether that will still be safe because of lots of ground movement. So for example, in this area, all the green dots are representing the very minimal ground movement, while yellow and red dots representing higher ground movement. So this is an example of a train station that have pretty substantial ground movement compared to the other, maybe because the weight of the train station, the lens goes down. So this is one of the useful feature for space application of synthetic aperture radar. This is another example of ground movement detection after earthquake that struck in Italy in 2016. So since this technology can detect the movement to the millimeters level, so it's also very useful for the application on the moon or other celestial bodies to help us understand what's the movement on the ground. So this is the example of a geological mapping that derived from the SAR technology. So this geological mapping can help us determining the type of mineral content and then where we want to put the mining site is. So this also will be very useful for lunar mining or Mars or any other celestial bodies. Another example also for crop production. So this technology, when we combine all the polarization and then the scattering mechanism, and we can actually generate analysis to determine the health of the crops and also the type of the crops. This is very useful on Earth, but may not be useful in the near future for space. However, when we terraform Mars, we may want to have large scale of food production in Mars, and of course we don't want to keep sending people to the field in Mars to monitor them. So we want to automate them, and SAR technology will be very helpful on that application. So yeah, the possible usage on lunar or other celestial bodies for SAR technology is the mineral composition analysis. So with the combination of polarimetry and scattering and we can see anything on the surface and also on the subsurface. Then next one is the base construction monitoring. So when we build a lunar base, whether it's in the dark side of the moon or the bright side of the moon, the SAR technology can keep monitoring them, and then we can see that how well it progress. And this does especially for the dark side of the moon because there is no sun illumination. And also with application for geological mapping on the lunar surface or what's the name, the regolith, using the ground penetrating SAR, we can generate a tomography that the latest research is up to 15 meter. It can see up to 15 meter under the ground with the SAR tomography thing. So this is basically similar to CT scan of our body, but the CT scan of the lunar surface or asteroid or any other celestial body. So this is very useful if you want to know what's underneath the ground and to see if we want to mine something or to see the mineral composition under the ground of the those surface. So on lunar orbit itself, there are now SAR already operational in that area. Is from the Indian Space Research Organization, the mini-SAR on Chandrayaan-1 orbiter, and also from NASA mini-RF on Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and both work in tandem to search for water and ice. So the SAR has already have application on lunar as of now. And this is the image from NASA and ISRO. This is the lunar crater identification. We can see from the SAR image, it's all the crater are very visible, and then can aid the identification of those craters. And this is the another one from NASA that the SAR observation on moon can see the approximately 10 to 15 meters below the lunar surface. So this is the light and dark features is the result of compositional change of lunar dust and the difference in the abundance of rocks and within the soil itself. So this is very useful for lunar mining application. And I think that's all from me. If there are any questions, I would be happy to help answer if I can. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Really appreciate that. We are on a tight schedule, so we're going to shift over very quickly. But I wanted to just, give you my appreciation. You tackled a pretty challenging topic here. It's not one that's very well understood, and the idea, we tend to take satellites for granted, right? We just use them, right? We use them for all sorts of things. But hardly especially in our community, a lot of people just simply don't understand how that data happens in the first place. It's great that we have that example of the Ever Given. I was particularly happy about that. I was glad that you put that into your slides. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass it over to Leo, but people would like to ask some questions, so feel free to stick around and respond to the chat channel. And then also, if you're comfortable with it, feel free to post your LinkedIn connections if you'd like to chat with other people afterwards.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Eric. We always talk about the cyber side of things, but never do we actually talk about the develop, track, manage the digital aspects. And of course, we really appreciate you being with us today. For everyone listening, thank you for joining us for this Blue Marble Week, soon to be Conversations for the Future, powered by Foundation for the Future.